Okay, hi everyone. Welcome back to our statistics class notes. We're now on page 21, where we are going to be talking about section 2.4, summarizing categorical distributions. So remember, chapter 2 is set up as this way. Sections 2.1 and 2.2 are visualizing and summarizing numerical distributions. Section 2.3 is visualizing, and now section 2.4 is summarizing categorical distributions. So how do we summarize categorical distributions? We use mode and variability, and I want to talk about how we actually go ahead and describe them that way. So describing a categorical distribution, recall that to describe a numerical distribution, we want to do shape, center, and spread. Shape, center, variability, which is horizontal spread. When I say it quickly, I like to say shape, center, spread. Since categorical data has no inherent order, however, like numerical data does, these measures don't make sense. So we can't use shape, center, spread, right? There is no order to it. There's no shape. There's no center, okay? So the two ways that we're going to describe categorical data is mode, which is the typical or the most frequent outcome, and then variability. Now variability, it's not horizontal spread like it is with numerical. Variability for categorical data is talking about diversity in the outcomes. So the more diverse the outcomes are, the more variable the results are, the more variable the data is, okay? The more differences there are. All right, but let's first talk about mode. So mode is the category that occurs most frequently. The key difference in the mode for categorical and numerical data can be characterized as follows. For numerical data, we use mounds, right? Mounds indicate higher frequencies, but do not necessarily need to be the same height. We just need to see that there is more than one mound or not. For categorical data, modes must be roughly the same height. We use, however, the same wording as before. Unimodal means there's one distinct mode. Bimodal means, okay, I got two bars, they're both the tallest, they're both really close to each other, so I'm going to call it bimodal. Multimodal means that there's more than two modes, etc. So here's an example. We have a fictitious survey, asked a random sample of college students what their predominant activity was during the winter break. So we can see that some answered nothing, some answered shopping, some answered sporting activities, and some answered visit family. So what's the typical response? If somebody says, what's the typical response? That's another way for saying, what's the mode? So visit family is the tallest bar, and that then is the mode, which also indicates the typical, most likely response. Now, variability is the second thing we're going to do. So I'm moving on here to page 22. Variability is the second thing we're going to look at. Now think of this as diversity in the data values. So what do you look for? High variation means you have a lot of diversity. There's many observations in many different categories. Low variation means there's less diversity. There's many observations falling into only a few categories or one category. Probably only one or two modes here. High variation could have more than one mode. All right. Could have more than one mode. There's many contenders for the mode. Caution. Variability here is more about the occurrence of many different data values rather than many frequencies, okay? We're talking about many different data values. So for example, according to Florida's Department of Education accountability reports, the bar charts below show the ethnic composition by percentage of two schools in Duval County for the 2014-2015 school year. So looking at school A versus school B, these are hard to read but you can see it easy in your notes. This is African American, Asian, Latino, etc. Okay, so which school appears to have greater variability in ethnicity? Which one has more observations in more categories? That's what it's saying. So school A, right? You can see that there's more observations in different categories, whereas school B is predominantly white, right? Not as much diversity. So this has more variability. It is more diverse.